It's a Tuesday right here on the SportsGrid Network. No better place to be. It's the early line. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Raineri. Did you stay up last night for a double overtime game number 1 Western Conference Finals between OKC and San Antonio? If you did, you were treated to a Wemby special. Did you stay up and watch some hockey in the Eastern Conference playoffs that saw another overtime goal, a questionable quick whistle, and so much more? But also, Major League Baseball in full swing last night. A lot to look forward to. Controversies all the way across the board. We're going to get you updated on everything you need to know during this show. Let's get after it, Joe. It's time. It is.
Yeah, Donnie, and top all of that, we get to do it all over again tonight here. Another round here, game ones. But go figure, a game 7 that was close. Interesting. Shocker, NHL, that you give us that.
And also, go New York, go New York, go tonight, the New York Knicks, and so much more. But it's time to get to the hottest topic of the day. Extra caffeination might be needed. The people stayed up late, Joe. Deliver them what they need to know.
Yeah, they certainly did, Donnie. And listen, if you missed out on last night and you want to go ahead and make that money back, well, then you need to stop what you are doing right now. Open up your Predictive Markets app and smash the LeBron James does not retire market immediately.
Yes,
the mainstream media spent all last week crying and hyperventilating because the Lakers got bounced, and LeBron is now a free agent at 41 years old. And boy, oh boy, the talking heads want you to believe he is seriously considering riding off into the sunset. But after yesterday's massive shams bomb again, the actual statistical probability of LeBron James retiring at this point, Donnie, I would say is exactly 0%. Because having watched LeBron over the years, you learn how to read the Clutch Sports playbook like a children's book, Donnie. Because Shams drops a report yesterday claiming that, well, every single contender in the NBA has called about LeBron James since the Lakers season ended. Really? We are right in the middle of the postseason, and teams are supposedly pausing right in their tracks to call about a 41-year-old dude who lost his fastball 3 seasons ago. This is not a retirement crisis. It is a textbook leverage play orchestrated by Rich Paul and the boys. LeBron, well, certainly he wants the Lakers to pony up the max cash and pay his guys along with them. So by, leaking that contenders are calling and hinting that LeBron James might take a massive pay cut, well, Clutch is already playing the game. The NBA offseason, Donnie, unfortunately, is about to become completely insufferable. So I hope they give us more games like they gave us last night to hold us over. Because if you're already sick of the endless Giannis trade drama, buckle up. Because now we have to endure months of manufactured rumors about will he or won't he retire LeBron James. They are probably, Donnie, working on the Decision 2.0 for Amazon Prime as we speak. Is Jim Gray still around? But here is the beauty of the predictive markets. They make insufferable stories about insufferable people highly profitable. Why the casual fans are debating whether LeBron is going to Cleveland or taking less money to chase a ring with the Joker in Denver. Well, Donnie, we already know the ultimate outcome in the predictive markets. The phone, well, it may be ringing here, but LeBron is definitely staying in the league. And the only real question left, Donnie, is how much are the Lakers going to overpay to keep him in Los Angeles? Either way, my money is locked in. The math is on our side, and a winning predictive market ticket, Donnie, is waiting for you and me at the window.
I told you, I love it. There's no way he's going to retire. He wants his flowers. He wants that retirement tour. And understand this as well. There's a lot of free agents in Major League Baseball. There's a lot of free agents in the NFL. There's more players. There's not a lot of free agents in the NBA. So, yes, other GMs are probably saying, hey, is he retiring or not? I just want to have him on my board here. Oh, that means they actually want him to play. People are actually contacting the Sixers on Paul George and Joel Embiid. That's what they do in the offseason, setting up their board. Who's eligible to be traded? Who wants to be traded? Who's going to retire? Who's going to stay in the league? That's all that's happening here. It's not teams reaching out like, man, we got to get him and we got to get into a bidding war. It's just doing your due diligence. Like Howie Roseman of the Philadelphia Eagles. Hey, what's that contract for Patrick? Oh, Eagles just checked in on Patrick Mahomes. No, they check in on symbolisms there based on what they think contracts are going to be, who's available, and what that means to the board when they look at it here. LeBron James, as you said it, Joe, he is not retiring, and I knew that for at least a full year. He's going to play next year, but as you are correct, he wants to stay in L.A., so you just keep on putting Rob Pelinka's ear to that rail saying he could go elsewhere, he could go elsewhere. And maybe that price starts to go up. Great topic to start here on a Tuesday as we roll through. Jamal Mosley in the early lineup here, Joe. Moving on. He wasn't good enough for Orlando. Hey, how about the Pelicans? I don't know. In 2 more years, Jamal Mosley is going to be looking for a job once again. You're hired to be fired. Congratulations, Jamal. You'll be out in about 2 years down there.
Well, listen, you can't win at one franchise. You might as well not win at another, right? Makes total sense, Donnie. So losing franchises hire losing coaches. And voila, there you go. Jamal Mosley now in New Orleans where they can underperform and not live up to the hype either.
How about those New York Metropolitans here? Usually get the ghost runners, should guarantee at least 1 run in extra innings. How about a 10 spot, Joe? A blowout victory, 16-7 in extra innings. The Mets stay hot at the plate and knock off those Nats.
Yeah, the problem is it took to extra innings to get it done, Donnie. They should have been able to do that in, the first 9 innings. But kudos to the Mets who are rolling now. Is it possible Atlanta should be shaking?
That's right. Should be shaking about those fighting Phils picking up another win last night as well. Starting the car. Oh, yeah. OKC last night, Joe, double overtime. I had a -6.5. They lost outright. Oh, well, can't do anything about that. But, Joe, sometimes those gambling gods smile down. You had the over in that game, and you were sitting pretty once this game ended. I don't know. Did it end a couple minutes ago? When did it actually end?
Yeah, it feels like it might as well have. But, I mean, Wemby was just, Wemby. And I got to tell you, Don, I didn't feel good about it either when, we found out the Aaron Fox wasn't playing, an hour before tip-off either as he was benched. Yeah. We saw the line continue to rise. We did see, fortunately, the total move down. It was 101-101 at the end of regulation, Donnie, and then it was all Wemby from there. And my goodness, tell me again who the MVP of the NBA is.
Big night for the boys in San Antonio. They take the lead in the series here. Here's what I want to say next, Joe. PCA, that's Pete Crow Armstrong, Chicago Cubs. Cubs fans, White Sox fans get into it. White Sox fans get into it, the players, which means PCA. I'm always under the umbrella, Joe. Give as good as you get. Match the energy of the people giving it to you. Now, some might say, you can't do that. You're a professional athlete. In the moment, sometimes you just snap. The only thing I think that PCA did wrong was his energy was a little bit higher than the actual fan's energy. If the fan cusses you out, you should be able to cuss back at them. If the fan just tells you you suck, you can tell the fans you suck. Maybe he raised it a little bit, but I'm not upset about it. But after a day or two, it's like, hey, look, be the bigger man, be the better organization. Just apologize, Joe, even if you don't mean it. PCA goes, you know what? Maybe the regretful exchange there, I went a little bit too far.
No, I don't think he went far enough, Donnie. It's one thing in the, different generation of heckling, but this generation of heckling, they deserve it. Just beat them down. They can't hide behind like a fake account on social media, Donnie.
By the way, Charles Barkley, I think, was arrested 4 or 5 times for hitting fans, not talking trash to the fans. Different day and age here. Buffalo Sabres, Joe, they lose in game number 7 to the Canadiens in the NFL. Nashville is going to host Super Bowl 2030, and Pep Guardiola is going to be out in Man City after 10 seasons, Joe. All in a whiz. We get through all the hot topics. Pep. Sometimes we don't have enough time, Joe, but the people get the information that they need, which includes spread lines coming up. Let's do it all over again on a Tuesday. We'll be right back, people.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all four.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
They're trading right now currently at 74 wins on the season, which means the Kalshi marketplace goes by 5-win intervals. 75-plus wins for those Houston Astros. That's a 49% contract to the yes, which a $100 investment pays back $205, Greg. I'm not high on this team. Look, again, 75 wins for the Astros is terrible, but this team might not even look the same as where we stand today by the time we get to that deadline.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You can recruit super young talent that may go in the NBA. You can recruit older guys and have them grow up together. But if you want players to stay, either sign them to contracts or treat them well enough where they're going to stay. To me, it's pretty simple. And, you know, a lot of coaches last year had good years and they left skid marks on their schools and nobody said a word.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Go over the summer where there's drastic changes and gas drops down to $3 a gallon, $2.50 a gallon in some states, and then you have some of the price markets go down. You ride that momentum is what Joe's talking about. So if you say right now, which party will win the U.S. House, and you think it's the Republicans currently trading at 20%, you take them now, and if good press comes, that turns into 25% and 30%, then you have the option to cash out.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Spread lines, the information that you need to know for a Tuesday night across Major League Baseball, the NBA, sprinkled in maybe with a little WNBA, and of course, the ice advice that you're going to need. Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena. They hang banners mostly for like Billy Joel and, you know, when Harry comes to town and sells the place out here, but it's been a long time since they actually hung a championship banner. Rangers in the 1990s. Before that, I don't know what night was it, 1972 for the New York Knicks. But that charge starts tonight. Eastern Conference Finals, game number 1. New York Knicks at home taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Knicks have been hanging out for weeks, it feels like, after wiping the Sixers out in round number 2. The Cavaliers in round number 1. Whew, took a while to get through that. The Cavaliers in round number 2. Took a long time to get through that. Rested and ready are those New York Knicks and favored by just over a touchdown. Minus 7.5, Joe, across the board, and a total of 217.5. Knicks, Cavaliers, spread line tonight for game number 1 is what?
Yeah, we saw 5.5 early look ahead here with this game. It's been bet. It was 6.5. Now it is 7. The total, Donnie, has also been bet up from that 214 and a half here. And listen, the history tells us a lot about this spot. And this spot is a team like the Knicks, who have been off since May 10th, Donnie. Kind of hard to believe, May 10th. Usually what happens in games where teams with a week or more off take on a team that just had to play a 7-game series, game 1s don't end well for those teams that had to play in a game 7 coming into it. And it makes sense, Donnie. I mean, how much more energy? Legs aren't going to be there in the second half. You got a Knicks team that is rested, ready to go. Usually doesn't end well for the Cavs. Not to mention the Knicks are great at home. The Cavs are terrible on the road. This is just an awful spot for the Cavs. I would be shocked, Donnie, if this line doesn't keep climbing before we get to tip-off. Maybe 7.5, maybe even 8 here at some particular point. I think the total also will start to see some over money. So if you're looking to go contrarian in any way, I don't think there's any rush to run to the window, Donnie. I would hold off. You'll get much better numbers closer to tip-off.
Here you go, Madison Square Garden tonight. Superstars out. Is Chalamet going to be in the building? Find out tonight in game number 1. Let's flip it over to a little Major League Baseball here. Milwaukee Brewers, Chicago Cubs battle for first place in the Central, which saw the Milwaukee Brewers take game number 1 of this series. Game number 2 today, 7:40 p.m. start. The Miz is on the mound. Jacob Mizorowski, an absolute flamethrower, going up against Ben Brown. Look at these numbers across the board, Joe. Only a minus 120 favorite here for those Brewers in a total that's listed at 8. Is it another victory for those Brewers today, or do the Cubs come to play at the plate and PCA getting back in the good graces? What happens on the spread line here?
Well, I mean, when you got double-digit, 10, 15, 17-mile-an-hour winds blowing out straight away at Wrigley, you tend to usually get some runs. But the Cubs have been going through it, Donnie. I mean, it has not been a good stretch of bad. They're coming off of a very long and not productive road trip. They had to take on their division rival Brewers, and they got smacked last night. And I can tell you again, Donnie, I mean, Miz on the mound, not going to make it easy for the Cubs here, who could look like they could use a day off here, but they're not going to get it. And I don't think they're going to get a win here either tonight against the Brewers, who are now 9-2 in their last 11 games, Donnie. I don't know that this is the spot that you want to fade the Brewers in.
Let's go to the WNBA. One game on the card tonight. Good luck watching that one. It's a 10 o'clock start. The Tempo out west to take on the Phoenix Mercury. Opening lines around that 7.5 number. A lot of outlets have moved up now, as you see the graphic, to minus 8.5 as a favorite towards the Mercury. The total of this game opened up around that 170.5 number. Most outlets, as you see also in the graphic, at 171.5. The Mercury at home taking on the new look Toronto Tempo.
Yeah, Phoenix coming off a 91-83 win against the Sky on Friday, and I believe the most points by a undrafted rookie in a single game was just set there with Nojic in for the Phoenix Mercury, who a lot of people thought, Donnie, this could be the year they could make a run. And like you mentioned it, Toronto Tempo, ironically enough, a lot of unders in Tempo games here. Go figure. And I see an under tonight also. We told you last night with Washington and Dallas, no way am I betting an over. I'm not betting an over here either. The over and total market in the WNBA is not even close here, Donnie. I think the unders are still very profitable right now.
Let's go up to New York City here. I know a lot of the focus and attention going to be on those New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden, but you head up to the Bronx here. It's Toronto, and it's the New York Yankees. Cease, who's been fantastic on the mound for Toronto. Will Warren will take the bump here for those Yankees. The favorite here, New York Yankees, at about a minus 142 price in a total, listed at 8.5. Last night, you had 13 total runs. Talked with Craig Mish on Sunday about some of these series, Joe, that were coming up, and the heat and humidity that is now in the Northeast. First pitch tonight is at 7 o'clock, Joe. 90 degrees. By the time you get to the end of the game, 84 degrees with a light wind blowing out to center field. That could aid the bats once again. Two good pitchers on the mound. The Yankees are the favorites here after winning last night, 7-6 over the Jays. What's the spread line we can look at here, Joe?
Well, as much as I wanted to blame Corbin last night, it wasn't his fault. A seventh inning and the bullpen implodes once again for Toronto. But Bednar actually got the final out there, and it was a big one, too, because he had to go through Springer and Guerrero to save it for the Yankees, who were losing that entire game, Donnie, right up until that seventh inning with Bellinger and Chisholm. But I don't know. Can we count on that again here tonight with Dylan Cease on the mound? Likely not. I think there's few. Will Warren has been very good, especially at Yankee Stadium. And I think he's going to be really good here again tonight. I like the first 5 under here, Donnie. I think few runs against the two starters. I think more runs in the later innings against the bullpens here.
Let's get to one quick one tonight, Joe. Dodgers and the San Diego Padres. Padres won in a low-scoring affair last night. Now sitting first place, Joe. Out in the West, Sheehan versus Canning. Heavy favorite once again for the Dodgers. Not too bad, about a minus 156. And a total of 8.5, Joe. Spread line here. Ooh, boy.
Yeah, big win last night for him. But look at that total, 8.5 at Petco. Usually don't see that, Donnie, but both of these pitchers could give up runs.
I apologize. Let's hear from PCA next.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all four.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
They're trading right now currently at 74 wins on the season, which means the Kalshi marketplace goes by 5-win intervals. 75-plus wins for those Houston Astros. That's a 49% contract to the yes, which a $100 investment pays back $205, Greg. I'm not high on this team. Look, again, 75 wins for the Astros is terrible, but this team might not even look the same as where we stand today by the time we get to that deadline.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You can recruit super young talent that may go in the NBA. You can recruit older guys and have them grow up together. But if you want players to stay, either sign them to contracts or treat them well enough where they're going to stay. To me, it's pretty simple. And, you know, a lot of coaches last year had good years and they left skid marks on their schools and nobody said a word.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Go over the summer where there's drastic changes and gas drops down to $3 a gallon, $2.50 a gallon in some states, and then you have some of the price markets go down. You ride that momentum is what Joe's talking about. So if you say right now, which party will win the U.S. House, and you think it's the Republicans currently trading at 20%, you take them now, and if good press comes, that turns into 25% and 30%, then you have the option to cash out.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong there for those Chicago Cubs. Boy, he lit the Major League Baseball on fire last year. Is nothing short of spectacular. Got a little bit of fire in those bones, and also sometimes when it's a crosstown rivalry, and if you didn't know when you watch games from Chicago at the new Comiskey, as we like to call it, what is it, the Raid Extension Ballpark, whatever you might want to call it here, the fans sit right behind the fence, Joe. And if you noticed over the weekend, he tried to make a catch, fell down, and some lady was giving him the business. He turned around, Joe. Gave the business back. Let's hear from Pete.
If you're going to go and open your mouth like that, I think you should probably expect. I mean, I saw the cameras in my face. It's not like I didn't. I think I just regret my choice of words the most and who that affects in my life. I don't think that any of the women in my life would ever think that I would use those kind of words regularly, especially referring to them. So I'm just bummed out of the word choice, about the word choice, and that a bunch of little kids go and probably find their way to social media and see that as well. I am intense on the field, and in a moment like that, I think I just let it get away from me a little bit. But again, poor word choice, lack of awareness too when it comes to who's watching me. So I don't want to represent the other guys in this clubhouse that way, because mostly everybody in here is the opposite of that.
Perfect response, Joe. Like when you win it, that's exactly what you're supposed to say at this point. And I don't think anybody's upset at firing back. It is a rivalry. It's the heat of the moment. You tried to make a play, weren't able to do it. You're sitting there and somebody's just chirping in your ear. You return fire. He went a little bit over the top, matching the energy, but it's not the end of the world. And this is how you move on from, hey, look, lost my mind out there, went a little bit too much. You know, kids are going to find that. I'll try to be better. But again, don't lose that energy. You're allowed to. You're allowed to match that energy, Joe. I like it.
Did he say word, Donnie, or words? What was the word he used? Do we know? Do we have any idea?
By the way, can you tell the people right now, Joe, exactly what he said? Can you repeat exactly what he said? I don't know.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because he said word once and then words. So I'm not sure. Was it one word? We'll have to watch it after the show. Perfect. Got to figure that one out.
Maybe we'll get it. Can we get an unedited clip to show exactly, Joe, what he said here? I don't know if we're allowed to do that on this, but it is what. Yeah, it was a phrase that he went. A little bit too much energy there, but hey, look, if you're around the locker room, you heard these phrases quite a bit here. PCA apologizes and he moves on. Here's what I like, Joe. Let's go out to the West Coast, right? You have the city of Los Angeles, which again, Orange County is in LA. But the Angels want to be called Los Angeles because it's better for them, and who knows. But the one thing we do know is there's a lot of people that live in the Los Angeles area. They just say, it's a nice weather. Let me go out to the ballpark here. Mike Trout loves it out there. He never has to win anything. Nobody yells at him. If he's hurt all the time, it doesn't matter. He makes a ton of money. But here's the issue you have with the Angels. Operate yourself like a big market. Respect the fan base that you have because they're willing to spend money and come to see you play. How about this account, Sleeper Angels? Mark Trumbo used to play in Major League Baseball, and they asked him, who was the big winner this weekend? Quote, the owner of the ball club. There weren't empty seats. 3/4 of those seats were Dodgers fans in your own building. But Artie Moreno doesn't care. He's like, wait a second. I have a team that's in the top 10 in Major League Baseball in attendance. I don't build a winner, and quite frankly, I don't care if we ever win. The money is flowing through the gates. It's all good.
Well, yeah, Donnie, you're right, but it's none of it is ever Angel fans. It's always just the teams that have fan bases around the biggest fan bases will come and pack out your stadium to watch your team get the snot beat out of them. That's just the reality, and there's a lot of fan bases around the country, Donnie, that they got to deal with. The only reason they buy seats is as an investment, Donnie, so they know when Yankee fans and others come to town, they can just sell those tickets over there and make their money back.
They deserve so much better if you're an Angels fan where they just don't care. It's like, they're going to come anyway. Why spend money? It's a great business model. Ridiculous if it's a fan base that actually wants to see good baseball. Gio Urshela, he retires. One of those teams you played with, Joe? That was the New York Yankees. So the expectations for me is the Yankees retire everybody's number. Urshela will get one of those. And also, how about a monument for him to go along with it as well, since the Yanks in 3 or 4 years won't have any numbers left?
How is he retired? How old is Gio Urshela? Like, he can't be that old. He's retired. Well, I guess that monument, here we come, man. It'll be out there, Donnie, before long. I promise you. He did wear the uniform once.
Yeah. Dylan Cruz back up to the majors here. High expectations. Last year didn't live up to it, but coming back to Major League Baseball, can he help those young Nats out who gave up 10 runs in extra innings yesterday against the Mets, but they're not playing bad baseball, those Nats, this year?
Why, is he going to pitch? Because I don't know that he's going to help them there, but he should be able to at least match 16 runs like they gave up against the Mets. Hopefully he can contribute on that front there.
Maybe he can. And how about this quickly? Garrett Cole! Could he be back by Friday night in the Bronx? Could be. Booney says it's on the table, baby. And you know what else is on the table? Coming back and having more fun with us next.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all 4.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
They're trading right now currently at 74 wins on the season, which means the Kalshi marketplace goes by 5-win intervals. 75-plus wins for those Houston Astros. That's a 49% contract to the yes, which a $100 investment pays back $205, Greg. I'm not high on this team. Look, again, 75 wins for the Astros is terrible, but this team might not even look the same as where we stand today by the time we get to that deadline.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You can recruit super young talent that may go in the NBA. You can recruit older guys and have them grow up together. But if you want players to stay, either sign them to contracts or treat them well enough where they're going to stay. To me, it's pretty simple. And, you know, a lot of coaches last year had good years and they left skid marks on their schools and nobody said a word.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Go over the summer where there's drastic changes and gas drops down to $3 a gallon, $2.50 a gallon in some states, and then you have some of the price markets go down. You ride that momentum is what Joe's talking about. So if you say right now, which party will win the U.S. House, and you think it's the Republicans currently trading at 20%, you take them now, and if good press comes, that turns into 25% and 30%, then you have the option to cash out.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Hot topics in the association. You might say now, what are you talking about the NBA? Yeah, we know there's a Knicks game coming up tonight here going up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, Madison Square Garden, world's most famous arena. What if I told you NBA players, technically, I guess you could say, or pro players, coming back to college basketball? This is where we get the issues at, Joe. This is where we get upset because you're led to believe amateurism, which is no longer the case. These kids are getting paid, in some cases, millions of dollars to play for teams here and can move at any time, which means they're basically free agents on a year-to-year basis. But what we always knew was kids coming out of high school, getting a couple years to play. Once they decide to go pro, there's no looking back. Even, Joe, to the point where you put your name in the draft, you can't play college basketball. That's no longer the case. Sleeper Celtics account tweets out, the Celtics 2020 second-round pick, Yam Madar, is committing to LSU for basketball. Played in 3 Summer League games in 2021, but has played professionally in Europe for the past 6 years. He's going to be 26 in December, Joe. What do we think about this? I think we know.
Well, the problem is there's already court cases which have allowed this, Donnie. So that's the issue, right? So, great that you were drafted and you've gone. And the minute you go to the courts, you open yourself up to this kind of situation. Instead of the NCAA putting their foot down and just being like, this is not how it works. Well, then they sue, they go to court, and then the NCAA is like, listen, don't blame me. We've been trying to get, an antitrust agreement from Congress. They won't get, it's all their fault. Don't blame us. It's the court's fault. So, and this all stems back to the NCAA not nipping this thing in the bud from the start.
And and again, games are always going to evolve. Games are going to change. We get that. But just like the spirit of the NCAA game was, hey, pick a university. Yeah. Maybe you don't like the coach. If you want to transfer, you sit out a year. So it makes you stick it out. And maybe it's better for you. The players don't get paid. Yeah, they're going to get duffel bags and handshakes and get free tattoos. Hopefully at this point, some clothes down the street. But the fact of the matter is, there's no surprise here. Where is this taking place? It's LSU. Remind us, Joe, who the head coach of LSU is once again. It's Will Wade, who's on wiretap, paying his players before you even could pay your players. It's no surprise. Like, you know what? It's the wild, wild west out there right now. We're going to push this to the extreme. People in LSU don't care. Hey, maybe it helps their basketball team and you move forward. But being 25, then 26, then 27 after playing professionally, that's not what collegiate athletics are about. And I know things are changing, and the more we like to stay the same, it's just not going to happen. You see this right here. It's like, guys, 6-year professionals coming back to college basketball. Who knows at this point right now, Joe? But other things in the association and maybe players that used to play. I say this a lot to you. The floor is yours, Joe Raineri, which means the floor is yours, Senator. How about this? Former NBA champion Rick Fox has been appointed to the Bahamian Senate per Reuters. Quote, as a senator, I hope to help examine recent turnout trends and work to restore trust in public life through transparency, accountability, and an economy where opportunity reaches more Bahamians first. Rick Fox in politics.
Loved Rick Fox, man. The guy was nothing but a winner, man. I mean, the guy's got a bunch of rings on a bunch of different quality teams. He was a great NBA player. He was a great teammate. Starting a whole lot of Hollywood movies, too, and shows and things along those lines. And now he's into politics. Sounds like he's got the Ronald Reagan path going on here.
Now, information, Joe, that you would like to know before you sign somebody to an extension. Just be truthful with us. We heard Steve Kerr basically saying, the group hugs that, hey, man, what a ride it's been. Looks like it's going to be a new chapter for Golden State. And then it wasn't. Steve Kerr signed an extension, probably sold the front office on, yeah, you know what? I got a lot left in the tank. I can see us through like these aging roster into the new millennium for the Golden State Warriors. So he signs the contract on the dotted line for probably millions of dollars. And then we get this, quote, yeah, I didn't have a great year last year. I think coaches are similar to players. You have years that are better than others. You have years that are worse than others. Steve Kerr said, you know what? I stunk last year. Doesn't matter. I got money in the bank and a new extension. Let's move forward.
Yeah, right. Water under the bridge, Donnie. I mean, I'm here whether you like me or you don't like me. And, so let's go. And the problem is he going to have any new players to work with? Likely not. Maybe he'll get a 41-year-old LeBron James, who apparently is highly coveted right now. Him and Steph could be the oldest. Maybe Draymond comes back, too. I think the Warriors' future is bright.
Warriors. How about those Detroit Pistons futures here? And they got a lot of futures they got to deal with here coming up in the next couple weeks. Why? Free agency is looming for the number 1 seed that was knocked out of the playoffs by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Rule number 1, don't sign Tobias Harris again because he comes up small in big games. Didn't play well in Game 6 or Game 7. Jalen Duren disappearing act like he was Houdini in the playoffs. Pistons got a lot of decisions to make here, Joe.
Well, they have one decision to make. You have to go out and get yourself a reliable number 2 option to Cade Cunningham, because Cleveland showed you they didn't care who else chucked the ball up. They weren't aware of anybody else on the Detroit Pistons beating them by shooting the ball. So you need to go out and find yourself a reliable number 2 for Cade Cunningham. Go get it. That's your biggest concern in the offseason.
Double OT last night in OKC. The San Antonio Spurs with a 1-0 lead via a double overtime 122-115 final. Joe, before I get some stuff from you here, let's take a look at what the coaches were saying last night after the game.
It was a competitive game. It felt like both teams just kept doing enough to not be put away and kept doing enough to let the other team know they were trying to pull away. It got to the point probably sometime at the end of that fourth quarter, it just felt like it was a war of wills. And there was a level of mental toughness that was exuded by both teams. And almost sometimes, like in football, they say it's just at some point the time runs out. It felt like everybody kept scoring. But the bench was great for us. We needed every second from everybody that played. And then those 5 guys, I don't know what it is, one of you probably do, but they played maybe the last 15 or so odd game time minutes. And their legs got wobbly, but they composed themselves and finished strong. And that was a heck of a game to be a part of.
Offensively, it took us a little while to get a little bit of a rhythm in the game. In terms of balance, to your point, I thought our threes were good in the first half. We didn't shoot it great. I actually thought we had higher quality threes in the first half than we did the rest of the game. But the balance of attacks wasn't great. You know, who knows what that is? It's their first time playing them in 4 months. They're obviously a unique opponent. We just had a while off. I thought we caught a little bit more of a groove to start the second half. We were lucky to be down 7 at halftime. But, yeah, I mean, 100%. There's a lot we can improve on.
Joe, tough place to play. Spurs go on the road. Young, talented team. Take the 1-0 series lead. And now they, Joe, have home court advantage.
Yeah, they stole it there. And but the reality was they were the better team from the opening tip in that game, Donnie. And Wemby and a few others had a chance. The final 3 minutes of that game in regulation was out of control. Both teams had opportunities to close it out in regulation. Certainly Wemby did, but he more than made up for it in overtime. So again, this is going to be better than any finals we're going to get, Donnie. So we should appreciate every game of this series and hope it goes 7.
Wemby went for 41, 24, and 3. Let's get a quick clip from him after the game.
If that was in your mind at all, knowing that Shea had got that award and you were in the top 3 for it, and, you know, did any part of tonight feel personal? Some of your facial expressions kind of look like you were really, really going for it.
Yeah, for sure. Everything you just said.
Motivation. Yeah. You don't need much of it here this late in the playoffs. Looks like Wemby motivated by some slights, he appears.
Well, and the reality is SGA has burned every other team this year, Donnie, except, you know what? San Antonio. He can't beat San Antonio.
The French connection couldn't come back and help the Sabres out. Let's find out why next.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all 4.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
They're trading right now currently at 74 wins on the season, which means the Kalshi marketplace goes by 5-win intervals. 75-plus wins for those Houston Astros. That's a 49% contract to the yes, which a $100 investment pays back $205, Greg. I'm not high on this team. Look, again, 75 wins for the Astros is terrible, but this team might not even look the same as where we stand today by the time we get to that deadline.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You can recruit super young talent that may go in the NBA. You can recruit older guys and have them grow up together. But if you want players to stay, either sign them to contracts or treat them well enough where they're going to stay. To me, it's pretty simple. And, you know, a lot of coaches last year had good years and they left skid marks on their schools and nobody said a word.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Go over the summer where there's drastic changes and gas drops down to $3 a gallon, $2.50 a gallon in some states, and then you have some of the price markets go down. You ride that momentum is what Joe's talking about. So if you say right now, which party will win the U.S. House, and you think it's the Republicans currently trading at 20%, you take them now, and if good press comes, that turns into 25% and 30%, then you have the option to cash out.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Expansion, Joe. We hear a lot about it, mostly from the Big Four, right? Hey, the NBA looking to add some teams in where? Well, maybe they might go up to Seattle. Maybe they might have a team in Las Vegas. But apparently the hottest marketplace in the world for a sports league is women's professional hockey. 4th expansion team added this spring alone. What do they know that I don't know, Joe? Do they know it's a Ponzi scheme? Or how are we doing this expansion so quickly? And quite frankly, do we need this expansion?
Oh, it's like every other expansion,
What is this?
Donnie. You're striking while the iron is hot. You're coming out of, a gold medal, right? Olympics. Hockey has become more popular than it's ever been in this country. So, listen, it's a good thing. The problem is, and what you worry about here a lot, Donnie, is the over-expansion, right? You grow too quick, too soon because you're not... Yeah, it's like, so you hope that doesn't happen where in a couple of years we're like, well, that was a fun league while it lasted, but I'm all for it. I think it should be. I mean, again, you got the gold medals to prove that this sport is here to stay.
Yeah, the talent, but like the women's sports talent pool isn't as large as the men's here. So now you're putting 4 more teams out there, and let's go, 20 players per team. That's an extra 80 professionals out here expanding that quickly. We'll find out how it works. But the one thing we do know about sports, Joe, even if it isn't smart for the league, you tell other owners, I'm going to give you free money just by voting yes. A lot of times, Joe, unless it's a super rich league like the NFL where it's like, money, okay, it's nice to get it, but we technically don't need it. Yeah, good luck with that when the owner's like, yeah, heck, make it 10 more teams. I'll actually be profitable this year. And if the league folds, at least I got my money back. That's usually what happens at that point here. But let's get to Game 7 last night, Joe. What happened to the Buffalo Sabres here? Unbelievable Game 6 victory. Place was on fire last night from the actual anthems all the way through to overtime until the Canadiens struck to take a 3-2 win into Game 7, into next round. Oh, those Sabres, man. Take the Sabre beers home and have those as your little fan base and have some fun and hang it on the wall. It's a good season by the Sabres. Just couldn't continue, Joe.
That was a great season by the Sabres. I mean, who are we kidding? But, again, I give credit to the Montreal goaltender there, because he was the shots that he had to endure in that game. I don't know how Buffalo didn't score 4 or 5 goals, Donnie. They outshot him 37-22, I believe. Buffalo did, and they could not get that extra one in, and that ultimately is what cost them.
Pekka Lukin in there, early in that, rattled 2-0. Here's what I like, too, about that, because so many times when you go to a Game 7, you're just looking for a good game. Now, if it's a home team here, you're like, yeah, we win 7-0. That's the greatest game I've ever been to. But you go down 2-0, like the energy was out of that building, and they started to climb back in it. Got a goal in the second period, tied it up in the third, go to overtime, dominated at times, like the play on the ice, no doubt, and also the ones that hurt the most. And it was probably the right call because the whistle blown, but it was the wrong call because they blew it too quickly. You put a puck in the back of the net. You think you might have won it. No, you didn't. And just a few moments later, bang, it goes the other way. Montreal 3-2. Like, I thought we might have won. We got a cheap whistle. Turns into, oh, my goodness, our season is over, Joe.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, Donnie, because it's been a hell of a run, and nobody saw them even remotely close to making it to this point. But at the same time, nobody expected them to make it through the Eastern Conference and win anything anyway. So, you learn from it, you move on, you seem to have the right core of players here, and listen, finally, I think the future's bright for the Buffalo Sabres.
Should be bright for the Buffalo Sabres here at this point. It's a great run. You want to build off that here? Let's hear from Lindy Ruff, head coach, post-game.
On a personal level, what are the initial emotions of the season ending that way tonight?
It hurts. I told the team it hurts. That pain will go away. But I won't let this one game define the season we had. I told the players how proud I was of them. The battle, we took into Game 6 in Montreal and then came back here and gave ourselves every chance to win. So this one game doesn't define our season for us.
No, it certainly doesn't at that point. It was a good run at this point. You wanted to win that to advance, but you got to take some of those like, hey, we're not used to being here. We learned a lot of lessons. Maybe next year, an extra player or two, we make that run right back at it, but they lose 3-2. Let's hear from some of the players here on the Buffalo Sabres now.
It's one shot that decides the whole season. It sucks.
It sucks, It's nothing else. It sucks, I think that, guys put a hell of a fight today, and, it wasn't the start we wanted, but we played a good game in the end, and it just sucks. It stinks. It sucks. I don't know.
It's tough. It stings. Thought we played hard all year to get to this point. I don't think anyone in this room felt like we were done yet. Just disappointed. It sucks.
The boys are upset after the game, no question about that. Left it all out there, and it's just tough because you go into Game 6 in Montreal. It's like, there's no way we can win this. This place is a cauldron of fire right now, and you blow the doors off. All that momentum coming back. But as I said, Joe, I give them credit. You're down 2-0 right off of the bat, and you tie that up, and then you go to overtime. It almost stings twice as hard as opposed to, we came home, just didn't have it, got beat 4-1. Boy, you fought all the way back. You felt it. One more goal, and you advance, and it goes the opposite way when you thought you scored the goal here, but it was waved off due to a quick whistle.
So I think I now know, Donnie, why they brought Josh Allen around this team. Because if I close my eyes and listen to those, it's like spot on to every post-game disappointment playoff loss that Josh Allen has had in his entire. Sounds spot on. Sounds very familiar to me, Donnie.
The Sabres back in the playoffs here. Can they get back to the playoffs next year? We'll find out. But more importantly, what are those Montreal Canadiens going to do against the Carolina Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference Finals? More talk coming up next, including you can't bet on your own team and expect forgiveness, people. Let's go.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all 4.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
They're trading right now currently at 74 wins on the season, which means the Kalshi marketplace goes by 5-win intervals. 75-plus wins for those Houston Astros. That's a 49% contract to the yes, which a $100 investment pays back $205, Greg. I'm not high on this team. Look, again, 75 wins for the Astros is terrible, but this team might not even look the same as where we stand today by the time we get to that deadline.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You can recruit super young talent that may go in the NBA. You can recruit older guys and have them grow up together. But if you want players to stay, either sign them to contracts or treat them well enough where they're going to stay. To me, it's pretty simple. And, you know, a lot of coaches last year had good years and they left skid marks on their schools and nobody said a word.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Go over the summer where there's drastic changes and gas drops down to $3 a gallon, $2.50 a gallon in some states, and then you have some of the price markets go down. You ride that momentum is what Joe's talking about. So if you say right now, which party will win the U.S. House, and you think it's the Republicans currently trading at 20%, you take them now, and if good press comes, that turns into 25% and 30%, then you have the option to cash out.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
There will be lawsuits here in the NCAA, and why not? Sue the NCAA for whatever you want, because apparently they can't beat you in court. Texas Tech's quarterback Brandon Sorsby has filed a lawsuit against the NCAA to expedite his reinstatement process for 2026. Remind you, this guy was betting. You say, oh, well, what's he betting? A couple NFL games? That doesn't hurt here. They should be able to do that. No, Joe. He was betting on his own team repeatedly, hundreds of times. And he goes, I only bet on the win, and it helped me in my process to get closer to the team. Joe, help me out.
He said it with a straight face, Donnie, so I give the kid kudos, man. I mean, deadpan, like, you know, I wanted to feel closer, so I basically bet on the team. Not even Pete Rose had that kind of level of BS. It just really is impressive stuff here. And listen, let water just go away for a little while. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. They'll come in. The Jets will sign you. You'll be fine. The future is bright for you, kid. Don't worry about it.
Yep.
Only do yourself a favor. Bet against the Jets. Don't bet on them to feel closer.
And by the way, too, like he's lawyered up and they're giving him all the right things to say, but we as sometimes degenerate handicappers that love to bet, Joe, we see right through this stuff. Quote, across the 2022 through 2025 seasons, Mr. Sorsby placed thousands of bets on everything and anything, just like any gambler would do. These bets weren't for the purpose of making money. That's where I got an issue with it. You're not just betting for the fun of it, because the fun of it is, yeah, you're going to win and lose, but hey, man, picked up a couple dollars in that game. Let's see if we can make it more. Now, granted, he also bet on Turkish Basketball League, Romanian soccer games, obscure tennis matches, and the Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest, which so many were bored. Let me throw it down on something I have no idea just to get some action in. But also, when you throw into the fact that you were betting on your own team here, which you cannot do and is the ultimate no-no, I don't see how you play. And if you do play, get this, every single player on every single team, share that information, bet with knowledge that you know a kid is suspended for the game, and make money off it like it's insider trading, because the NCAA can't kick you out apparently then.
And the kid is 23 years old. Like, give it up, dude. Like, no more college for you. Let's move on. You can do this in the USFL or whatever else is still like, go ahead and go. Like, it's time to move on here. Enough is enough here. I get it. You placed a couple of bets on a team that you were on the scout team and yada, yada, yada. But you don't understand you understood the rules as a freshman then, and you understand now. You're just trying to circumvent them now.
I mean, and again, you might say like now, like, oh, I thought we were allowed to bet. Like 2022, it's like the death penalty. Like, hey, bet on your team in baseball. I didn't know. No, they tell you the minute you get to a team, campus, and to a professional team, here's what you can and cannot do. And no, just because you wanted to be more connected with the team, that we're just going to wipe the slate clean. But I tell you, Joe, just through the NCAA. They have no teeth at this point. He probably is going to win this year at this point. How about winning a Super Bowl hosting bid? I've heard some of the craziest things in the past year of how you actually get to host it. I remember going way back to the Eagles making the Super Bowl in 2004. Jacksonville put up a bid, and one of the parts of the bids was they have to supply each and every owner with a yacht/hotel room as part of the perks here. I wonder what we're offering up here for Nashville, who apparently now is going to host the Super Bowl in 2030.
Yeah, and I don't know that we'll ever have the right answer, Donnie. I don't think we'll ever know because it's going to be just absolutely ridiculous and unrelatable to all of us. But that's how they roll, Donnie. That's how they do it.
How about rolling into the NFL draft in 2028? Like, saw Mendoza last year. Was like, dude, I'm from Miami. I'm not going to Pittsburgh. Sorry. You know where the number 1 overall pick wants to go to celebrate, Joe? Minneapolis, Minnesota. Guys. Vegas, Miami, New Orleans. Keep it simple. You will get every prospect and every top pick to go there. Could it be a hard sell on many, Joe?
Yeah, at least it's a dome, right? I guess, maybe. You don't have to stand outside. Yeah, I'm not going, Donnie. I just won't be there.
And how about this, Joe? I know you like this. More football is good for the fans. We'll play every single day. Why? Our fans love it. And it says at this point, the league does not appear to believe there's a tipping point. Trust me, Joe, there's always a tipping point.
Yeah, leave it to the NFL, the only league to ever own a day of the week and try and ruin that by trying to own every other day of the week as well. Unbelievable.
You know what we like as football fans? Like, then Thursday came in because they made more money. It was so big. But Monday was enjoyable. Sunday was. You know what the extra football used to be, Joe? Maybe a weekend or two in December, they're going to throw a Saturday game on there. Like, this is awesome. Every day of the week? The new normal, Joe. New normal coming up next. Hour number 2.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all 4.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
They're trading right now currently at 74 wins on the season, which means the Kalshi marketplace goes by 5-win intervals. 75-plus wins for those Houston Astros. That's a 49% contract to the yes, which a $100 investment pays back $205, Greg. I'm not high on this team. Look, again, 75 wins for the Astros is terrible, but this team might not even look the same as where we stand today by the time we get to that deadline.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You can recruit super young talent that may go in the NBA. You can recruit older guys and have them grow up together. But if you want players to stay, either sign them to contracts or treat them well enough where they're going to stay. To me, it's pretty simple. And, you know, a lot of coaches last year had good years and they left skid marks on their schools and nobody said a word.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Go over the summer where there's drastic changes and gas drops down to $3 a gallon, $2.50 a gallon in some states, and then you have some of the price markets go down. You ride that momentum is what Joe's talking about. So if you say right now, which party will win the U.S. House, and you think it's the Republicans currently trading at 20%, you take them now, and if good press comes, that turns into 25% and 30%, then you have the option to cash out.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Hour number 2 officially underway on a Tuesday here. A lot still to get to at this point. We do have guests on the horizon. This next segment here, Kevin Walsh, host of Game Time Decisions, 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Sports Grid Network. Will join us as well as a little prediction markets edge coming up about halfway through this hour. And also best bets as well. Me, I lost last night. Joe picked this up here with a W on the over. 2 more plays tonight. We're going to be going to Major League Baseball, hint, hint, and also a little NBA action to wet the whistle, Joe. We got 1 hour to get the people all the information they need to know to be more informed handicappers and sports bettors heading into tonight, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was crazy enough yesterday. It's going to be crazy again today. So absolutely worth buckling up here as both now, right? NHL, NBA, all set here for conference championships. We all are going to be down to 2 teams in both for a title.
We talked about it yesterday, Joe. Somebody showed up to the Pittsburgh Steelers practice facility. That somebody was Aaron Rodgers. Brooke Pryor with a tweet yesterday. Peyton Wilson said he was a little shocked, definitely, to see Aaron Rodgers at the Steelers facility this morning of having Rodgers back. Quote, it's a lot harder on us in the 7-on-7. He demands perfection, Joe. The old man back in the Steel City.
Well, good. At least somebody's got to hold their feet to the fire here. So what do you think? You're just going to lollygag around with, I mean, he's 42, could get his, his head bashed in. I think he's going to want to demand a little effort here from his teammates. So I don't know. Maybe having Papa Rodgers around is a good thing for Pittsburgh this year.
After Aaron Rodgers took first-team reps, they said Will Howard was number 2. Mason Rudolph designated the third quarterback. And Drew Aller, who's just learning how to drop back and throw a pass, QB number 4, Joe.
Yeah, they're trying to undo everything Franklin did at Penn State, which is just great. They're like, yeah, forget about everything you learned there at Penn State. None of it's going to work here. But maybe the guy most happy to see Aaron Rodgers is Mason Rudolph. So he's like, whew, glad I can just collect that check again and just have to pop in every now and then to a game.
It works out well. By the way, Joe, let me ask you this question. Mike Tomlin, all those years, they don't compete for championships, the Steelers. They compete for being 500 or better. Do you think they actually can get that 9-win season underway and celebrate another victory despite maybe making the playoffs and getting embarrassed? What do you think?
No. I think I don't know what they're doing here. Did they address the offensive line? No. Okay. They got a aging and overpriced defense. And Tomlin is not there to work whatever magic that he had worked for 100 years there. They were a great bet as a underdog, Donnie. Let's not forget how much money we made there back in Tomlin and the Steelers anytime they were getting points. That's not going to cut it with McCarthy here, folks. It's going to be ugly in Pittsburgh this year.
Wait till you get that spring, or should I say preseason / camp injuries. Like, oh no, TJ Watt's going to be down for 2 to 3 weeks to start the season. Oh boy, Pittsburgh, could be a long season. Or do you celebrate again a victory here with your 9th win of the season? Let's get over some other hot topics here on the early lineup. Jamal Mosley, he just got fired, but rehired now, not by the Orlando Magic, but now he's the Pelicans' new head coach here. Congrats, coach. That's a terrible franchise and apparently a terrible job.
Well, listen, if at first you don't succeed, then don't succeed again with your next team. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. You couldn't get it done with Orlando and talent. I'm not sure that, Zion and Derek Queen are going to change the trajectory with him at the helm. But hey, congrats, you got the job.
What's some of the perks down there, Joe, you get? Is it like Smoothie King, like free smoothies every Thursday for the head coach and, a lot of extra gumbo? What's the selling point of going to New Orleans as the head coach? Just that you get a paycheck and eventually you'll be out of there?
Yeah, Zion, right? Isn't he? No, it's not Zion. That's Zion. Zion and Derek Queen, I think. And the reality is, Donnie, they're going to have talent there in New Orleans. But is he really the guy to put it all together? Ooh, I don't know.
2 or 3 years he'll be looking again, but hey, get that paycheck for this. If somebody's going to pay, you might as well take the job at this point, which also includes Mr. Mendoza here as the manager of the New York Mets. He's getting paid to win baseball games, and it looks like the New York Mets are starting to do that. A 10-run explosion in the 12th inning here, 16-7 victory. Let's hear from Mendoza post-game.
Not have a letdown after an emotional weekend. What's that mean?
I mean, the resilience, the grit. That's a group that, we came today and it's a new series. It's a new day. What happened yesterday, it doesn't matter, and that's the mentality for tomorrow. We show up tomorrow, we won a very good game today. It was a back and forth, and we never got down. We kept punching. And even when we didn't score those, couple of extra innings there, we were able to, the pitching staff was able to give us a chance, and the guys came through. So emotions, like I said, we got to be able to turn the page. I say that when we're losing. I'm saying the same thing when we're winning. It's another important game tomorrow, and we'll come here, and that's what we'll do.
There's another important game tomorrow, Joe. Good technique to use in Major League Baseball. Wipe the slate clean and get after it. You know who else is going to have to do that? OKC. Why? They lost game number 1 in their own building to the San Antonio Spurs, 122-115, double overtime. Look at that Wemby stat line, Joe. 41, 24, and 3. That's how you lead the way.
One of the better games that we've seen all playoffs long, and this series, I think, is exactly going to be that. I'm telling you, it's going to be better than anything we get in the finals here. So I'm going to enjoy every game of this series, Donnie.
Imagine not being able to come up with a baseball, make a tough catch against your rivals across town, and the fans go, "Hey, Pete, you suck out there." You turn around, blankety blank, blankety blank, blankety blank. Peter Crow Armstrong says, "You know what? I regret those choice of words during Sunday's interaction. I don't."
Words or word? It's still going to have to listen to that back there. I'm going to have to listen to that back since it was on camera and he really didn't care. Yes. But, hey, I am all for just fans. It goes both ways. You want to go out there and start you better be able to take it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, like fan punches you, you can punch back. Fan uses certain words, you should be able to use words back to him here. Hey, just an eye for an eye type of society. By the way, I know what he said. Maybe we'll get Kevin Walsh next to read exactly what PCA said, Joe, so you can understand more about that topic here. Buffalo Sabres losing Game 7 versus the Canadiens. Oh, no! What are we going to do, Buffalo, here with all those beer Sabres and all the fun we would have had in the Eastern Conference Finals? Montreal, les Habitants, move on to the next round.
Listen, I mean, that city of Montreal, they had to bust out the riot police last night. I mean, it's been a long time since they've had a chance to celebrate, well, pretty much anything. But, yes, kudos to them. But now they got to go through Carolina, which is going to be a much more difficult task than going through Buffalo.
Joe, it's been a long time since Nashville hosted a Super Bowl. Why? They never hosted a Super Bowl, but you know what? Spend money here. The league rewards you. New stadium coming to Nashville. Congratulations, boys and girls. The Music City is going to host the 2030 Super Bowl.
Oh, hope they're putting a roof on it there, Donnie, because have you been to Nashville in February, March? Because it ain't warm, people. You ain't walking around the streets of Nashville. It's going to be cold in February there.
Just what they need there. Another dome stadium. Get used to it, Joe. What do you say? Maybe 15, 20 years, every single stadium in the NFL will be a dome at this point, and away you go. And also, do you really even need, every 20 years you need a new stadium? How do we even get up to that? Like, this place should be around 50, 60, 70 years at this point. But if you ask, you shall receive, and you will get that tax money here. Pep Guardiola going to leave Man City after 10 seasons, Joe. What a blow here to Man City.
I can't believe Pep is leaving, man. Iconic there, when I tell you. And unfortunately, that just means he's probably going to end up where? Team USA, something along those lines.
By the way, he probably should just coach the Pelicans down there. Got to be a better coach than Jamal Mosley. Come on now. Hey, going to get fired anyway. What's the big deal? Up next, Kevin Walsh.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all 4.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
They're trading right now currently at 74 wins on the season, which means the Kalshi marketplace goes by 5-win intervals. 75-plus wins for those Houston Astros. That's a 49% contract to the yes, which a $100 investment pays back $205, Greg. I'm not high on this team. Look, again, 75 wins for the Astros is terrible, but this team might not even look the same as where we stand today by the time we get to that deadline.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You can recruit super young talent that may go in the NBA. You can recruit older guys and have them grow up together. But if you want players to stay, either sign them to contracts or treat them well enough where they're going to stay. To me, it's pretty simple. And, you know, a lot of coaches last year had good years and they left skid marks on their schools and nobody said a word.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Go over the summer where there's drastic changes and gas drops down to $3 a gallon, $2.50 a gallon in some states, and then you have some of the price markets go down. You ride that momentum is what Joe's talking about. So if you say right now, which party will win the U.S. House, and you think it's the Republicans currently trading at 20%, you take them now, and if good press comes, that turns into 25% and 30%, then you have the option to cash out.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
May 19th, it's a Tuesday, people. June 1st, coming fast and furious to the city of brotherly love. We're going to get to that in just a few moments here, but it's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Raineri, and we welcome in Kevin Walsh, host of Game Time Decisions, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. right here on the SportsGrid Network with Gabriel Morency and a lot of hot topics to get to. Kevin, how are we feeling today on a Tuesday post double overtime Monday?
Yeah, we're feeling great. We're feeling more refreshed than you would think since we're just one game a night. So it wasn't a 10:30 tip, although obviously I would have been up regardless and watched what was one of the best late round playoff games in recent memory, quite honestly, guys.
Yeah, it should be a great series there on the West. And again, home court advantage now goes back to, I should say, the San Antonio Spurs. But before we get there, Kevin, hot topics and, context matters. One of the three people on this graphic right here was married over the past month, let's call it here. So I want to ask you this question, and we're going to roll it into the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm going to give you a two-parter here. Wasn't Joe Raineri? It was Joe Raineri that actually got married here. But how about this, Kevin? Nope. Take a look at asking people to show up to your wedding. Did you have any snubs at the wedding or key players left out? Did you?
Oh, okay, right. So who did A.J. Brown did they give us a full list, Donnie, of who A.J. did and didn't? Was Kevin Patullo at the wedding? That's my lead question.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
Sirianni out this question. But I saw that yesterday, and it's no surprise. It's like, okay, these guys didn't get along, and he's leaving the Philadelphia Eagles specifically because he doesn't like that he doesn't get the football enough, and the quarterback is the guy that can deliver the football. Now you can actually look at the statistics and go, wait a second, this guy's the best wide receiver in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles, but somehow not getting the football here, Kevin. What are we making right now, about 2 weeks away from June 1st, and now comes out TMZ's all over it. Jalen Hurts wasn't invited to the wedding, apparently. But hold on. He had to have been, though, right? And he just didn't go. There's no way he just didn't invite him to the wedding. Stop it.
Well, I can tell you that the invitations do go out earlier. So, did they both agree, listen, just better off not showing up, it is what it is kind of thing? Yeah, I don't know. I'm also a little confused because sometimes the NFL, calendar throws me off. Is Jalen Hurts at, workouts right now for the Eagles, by the Eagles? Yeah. Did A.J. Brown have this during, a mini camp? But here's the thing, Donnie, was Devonta Smith there? I don't care that Hurts wasn't there. I'd like to know who from the Eagles, because so far there was like Darius Slay and Isaiah Rodgers are there. It's like old Eagle quarterbacks. Like, I don't understand. I don't really understand the formula.
By the way, Joe, real quick, let me just fire back at this right now.
Sure.
I don't know if Devontae Smith seems like the nicest guy in the world, but understand how wide receivers, Kevin, actually work. You might think that AJ actually hates Jalen Hurts. You know who he hates worse? It's the wide receiver on the other side. Like, hey, he had a big game, and you know what? I don't feel like showing up to work the next week. That's how it works.
Dotson
so I would be surprised.
Was definitely not invited to your.
No, he probably was there because, like, dude, you're not a threat to me at all. You know what? You're gonna sit at the head table number one, Jahan Dotson, because you were never a threat. You know what, Devontae? I did send you a invitation, but never got there. Go ahead, Joe. I just had to get that out there. How us?
No, I just wanted to know. Did anybody check? Did Joe Lisi actually get the invite? or did he? How does that work? Our boy Joe, because I understand he goes to all these weddings type of thing there. So interesting. I just wasn't sure.
No,
he probably had to call AJ and say, "Where is this wedding again?" Let's talk some hopes here tonight because your Knicks, and from what I understand, tickets still available in the nosebleeds for about $3,000 if you want to go sit up at the top at the Garden. But here we go. I haven't played since May 10th. We saw OKC struggle a little bit early last night there with all that time off. What do we get tonight from the Knicks?
Yeah, I think the Knicks are in a spot to roll, quite frankly. Now, the problem is I do think the number is ridiculous at -7.5. The Thunder laid 6.5 to the Spurs, which I also thought was a bit ridiculous for somebody who was, invested in San Antonio last night and was really happy with the end result of that game. I think the Knicks are in a really good spot. And I think the bigger takeaway, and I don't know how it lands for you guys, but a lot of people watched Oklahoma City and San Antonio and probably said, man, this is the finals. No one in the East is going to touch these two teams. And I watched that game and went, man, do the Knicks do the roads keep opening up for New York? Because people last night were like, can we get 14 games of Oklahoma City and San Antonio? And the Knicks would be like, be my guest. We'll be waiting on the other side. Like, that is going to be, would it stun anybody if the Knicks once again had a wild rest advantage with fresher legs than whomever comes out of Oklahoma City, San Antonio?
No surprise there at this. But, Kevin, people need to know, like, interesting information outside the realm of the New York Knicks and how they're going to play tonight. You grew up in Queens. You got a couple brothers. You got a dad. You're not a Knicks fan.
No.
Is it a Knicks household? Are people popping and, getting after it for the Knicks in your house? No?
Is it
no,
the Nets?
So there's 5 people. Certainly not. There's 5 people. 2 would claim the Knicks. Another is I would say a pretty much nightly free agent, which I really, really respect. My dad's been a Spurs guy my whole life. So, just really like Tim Duncan and everything. Yeah, of course. And then you guys know me. Now, here's the thing. You want to talk about a fairy book ending?
Oh, no. The king comes back.
The king comes to New York.
Oh, my
and we get to end this thing in style. I mean, I'll tell you this, Donnie. He ends up on the Knicks. I'm ended up in one of those side talk videos. I'll tell you that. Bing bong.
Bing bong, correspondent, man on the street, coming to you live, game time decisions. You're going to have to take some game time decisions off to head down to the Mecca. But by the way, the Mecca is going to be the place to be tonight, along with game time decisions. 6 o'clock tonight, getting you ready for that big game. It's Kevin, it's Gabe. No better place to be here. Kevin, thanks for joining us today. Tomorrow, Joe will next.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all four.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
They're trading right now currently at 74 wins on the season, which means the Kalshi marketplace goes by 5-win intervals. 75-plus wins for those Houston Astros. That's a 49% contract to the yes, which a $100 investment pays back $205, Greg. I'm not high on this team. Look, again, 75 wins for the Astros is terrible, but this team might not even look the same as where we stand today by the time we get to that deadline.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You can recruit super young talent that may go in the NBA. You can recruit older guys and have them grow up together. But if you want players to stay, either sign them to contracts or treat them well enough where they're going to stay. To me, it's pretty simple. And, you know, a lot of coaches last year had good years and they left skid marks on their schools and nobody said a word.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Go over the summer where there's drastic changes and gas drops down to $3 a gallon, $2.50 a gallon in some states, and then you have some of the price markets go down. You ride that momentum is what Joe's talking about. So if you say right now, which party will win the U.S. House, and you think it's the Republicans currently trading at 20%, you take them now, and if good press comes, that turns into 25% and 30%, then you have the option to cash out.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Don't be late, people. When we get on this show, it is a live show that we do in the morning. You don't see Joe Raineri popping in at 7:45 like, whoa, forgot to shave, and sorry, didn't know the show was actually on. No, you get here a little bit earlier, check some microphones out, you come and you have some fun. Underdog Golf with a tweet. Garrick Higo, remember that guy's name? Parts ways with his caddy, Austin Galgert, per Adam Shupak. Why? Because he was supposed to deliver you to the tee box, or as a professional athlete, you should know when to get to the tee box. A 2-stroke penalty cost him dearly in this tournament, and now he's basically feels like blaming it on his caddy.
That's hilarious on so many different levels, because most people, if they ran over Garrett Higo to begin with, they would have no idea who he was. But the idea that there's no personal responsibility to making a tee, it's the caddy's fault. Something tells me the caddy was probably out the night before with him, Donnie, and that's probably a pretty good reason as to why they both didn't make the tee time on time. So, yeah, I would, congratulations, Garrett Higo. We all know whose fault it truly was.
How about this? Is any fault for anybody here? Thomas Tuchel was not happy with England's planned World Cup base camp after concerns over the hotel's conditions. Reports claim, Joe, the rooms are poorly soundproofed, with noise from other rooms said to be a major issue for this guy, Tuchel, who is obsessed with players' sleep and recovery. Oh, no, Joe, but by the way, the FA are now considering providing players with special recovery kits, including custom pillows, mattress toppers, ergonomic eye masks, and earplugs to improve sleep through the tournament here. Is everything about the World Cup nothing but a complaint, Joe?
No, I mean, I don't know. What did they expect from a Motel 6 there? I'm not sure what they thought they were going to get here. So bring in your sleep chambers or do what you ever got to do. Obviously, you're not staying at the Ritz-Carlton because I'm fairly certain hearing other people in other rooms would not be an issue there, Donnie. I'm just saying.
Nah, not an issue here. You know what else isn't an issue? How are we going to get down and fade the public? MVP. Well, it was SGA in the regular season, Joe, but that's not the question we ask. Who's your pick to win the NBA Finals? And right now, a clean sweep for Victor Wembanyama coming off last night's 40 performance, a 40-20 performance in double overtime in a victory here. People hot on Wemby right now, Joe.
Well, yeah, but it only counts if you were on Wemby last night and prior to this. You can't jump on him now because now there's no value on him now winning anything. So, but yes, did he not look like he had a chip on his shoulder last night, Donnie?
Yeah.
Did he not look like he played like a dude that feels like he's been slighted, even though nobody doesn't think he's like one of the best players in the NBA? But hey, whatever motivates him, I'll back him as well here. I think that's the correct answer.
Let's get to some best bets. Here's bye. Oh, best bets tonight on a Tuesday. Joe picked up a dub last night in a double overtime over victory with those San Antonio Spurs and OKC Thunder. Joe, take it away, Senator. The floor is yours.
Well, let me ask you, Donnie. Remember, it seems like forever ago, but it was, 2022, I believe, when Donovan Mitchell was this close to being a Knick. But instead, they couldn't get the trade done. So, yeah, Jalen Brunson signed. And now here they are, both getting ready to go at one another in the Eastern Conference Finals. The history is very clear here, Donnie. Teams with this much rest, like the Knicks, taking on a team in Game 1 coming out of a Game 7. Yeah, those teams have yet to cover a Game 1 coming out of the Game 7 here. We know the Cavs can't play on the road. We know the Knicks play great at home. Let's not overthink this. Lay it with the Knicks. I got them winning by double digits here. I don't see anything that changes my mind.
Rested and ready here. I'm going to go over to the Major League Baseball diamond and fade the worst pitcher on the card today, which is Jacob Lopez of the Athletics. Why is he the worst pitcher? How about on the season, Joe? A 144 xFIP minus number, an ERA close to 6, a xFIP number of 6.01, and a Sierra at 5.81. He's a left-handed pitcher. He can't get right-handed batters, Joe. How about righties against him this year? 250 ISO against, 372 weighted on base percentage, and a K percentage of only 15%. Expected in the lineup tonight, 9 right-handed batters for the Angels. Team total, Joe, over 4.5 for the Angels at a minus 113 price. NBA action, Major League Baseball action, the goal, 2-0. Last week was 8-2. I lost last night. Joe won. We're 1-1. We move it forward here. Prediction Markets Edge is next, right here on the early line. Don't miss out. We'll be back after this quick break.